No.
All right, Greg, speak. I have technical difficulties to work out.
Hello. I'm actually going to live producer now, so I have nothing to say. Although I do have something cool for our first segment. I have not the CTR stuff and not the WRX discussion, but I have a bill from Volvo here that I took the XC90 in today. I thought we'd do another guessing game today,
Oh, okay.
and a $25 gift card to wherever they choose, whoever wins. Closest prices right rules, closest without going over.
I go
It'd be
to
good.
dashboard. All right.
So we have some people joining the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. Chad is setting up some technical difficulties on his side. He's our stream master. I'll be the stream intro master today. Thank you so much for joining. We are back with another stream. Chad and I, Hanson is otherwise indisposed tonight. He is off editing some awesome videos for Shifting Lanes, the YouTube channel. So go check that out. But also, there is a bunch going on with us here. So we're going to talk about that today. And we are also going to talk about some really interesting things. We are going to talk about the Honda Civic Type R, which was just released. We're going to get to that in a little bit, so stick around if you're a Honda Civic Type R fan. Also, stick around if you want to talk Subaru WRX. We're going to talk a little bit about that today because Hanson, aforementioned Hanson, he has one as a press loan. So there will be a review coming out very soon on the Shifting Lanes YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to that, please go subscribe to that. We have awesome videos all over there, mostly from Hanson right now because he's focusing on our reviews. So go check that out. But we're going to talk about those two. The first thing I thought we would do, which I thought was interesting, and now that we have more people here, is we're going to do another guessing game because everyone seems to really kind of like these. So this is a bill from Volvo. And without showing you any of my personal information, I took my XC90 in today. Now I have a 27 XC90. It's my wife Kate's car, and we had to get some work done. So the closest person to guessing the total of this bill after I go through it, I'm going to tell you what we got done. I will give you a $25. I'll personally give you a $25 gift card to the automotive whatever of your choice. Rock Auto, O'Reilly, whatever, the FCP Euro. They don't do gift cards, but I'll PayPal you $25. So let me know if you can guess the number. I'll give you one hint. It is a 3-digit number, so it's not over $1,000. It has to be $999.99 or under. So here's the work that's been done to this. So let's see if you guys can get it right. First things first, we got an oil change. Now I took my car to the dealer for an oil change. Sue me. I also did front and rear wipers. Again, got that at the dealer. I was there. I was
Hold
like,
on.
honestly, it's one of those things that I always forget to do, and I'm like, I need wipers on this car because they're terrible. Please put some more on. So I was like, all right, go for it. What did you want to say, Chad?
I laugh at that because I have seriously considered doing that because I don't know, for whatever reason I struggle with the C30's wiper blades, so I was just laughing.
All right, so I have to go turn the timer off. That is on the microwave. So 1 second. But the other thing that I had to do was we had a turn signal malfunction. As you hear the timer going off in the background,
mode?
we had a turn. No, yes, it's BMW mode. But we had a turn signal malfunction. Now that actually involved removing the steering wheel and replacing the entire steering angle sensor because a lot of the new systems in the newer Volvos, they're all integrated into like one sensor or two sensors. This was one of the sensors that failed, so I had to get that replaced and redone. So that's all the work we had done. New wipers, an oil change, and a steering angle sensor that encompasses a lot more than just the steering angle sensor because it obviously had something to do with the turn signals. So 3-digit number, let's see it in the comments. Closest without going over will get a $25 gift card to their automotive place of choice. Let's see some comments as I turn this timer off. Chad, what do you think?
Before I get to my guess, fun story. The steering angle sensor was one of the things that went wrong first in the Mustang, which threw an ABS code or in traction control code.
Interesting.
So that's when you say steering input sensor, that's that's something I'm familiar with. Oil change, wiper
Interesting.
blades, that Let's see here. No, when you say oil,
We have no comments. No one wants to win $25. Come on, let's get some comments going. There's 24 people watching on Facebook alone. There has to be some guesses. Who wants $25? I will literally send you a PayPal.
So when you say oil change, do they do all the oil, filters? Is there any resets to the computer that need to be done? Do you need to disconnect and reconnect the battery like a BMW?
I don't think so. Hang on. I am looking. Let's see. Castrol oil change. Synthetic. They comped me on the gasket, the filter, and the washer solvent.
Okay.
There's nothing that. It's just the price. It says total parts and labor. It has one number for the oil and one number for the parts and labor, which was $20 more than the oil. So they didn't. It looks like they just threw all of it into like one lump sum.
For all of that, Volvo brand, so you're getting a little Volvo tax on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say $827.50.
Okay. $827 from Chad. And by the way, we're doing Prices Right rules, so closest without going over. So all right, we got some guesses. Keith has $865. Marlizeth has $760. Leroy has $850. Israel has $670. Jerry Torres $595. Calvin $120. Keith says factor in, remove, and install the steering wheel. Very interesting. Kevin says $850. And if you're just joining us, we're guessing this bill from Volvo that I got. It was new wiper blades, an oil change, new wiper blades front and back, an oil change, and a new steering angle sensor that controls more than just the steering angle in these new Volvos. So we have a bunch of guesses. I'd like to see a couple more before I do this. We got 41 people on now. So if anyone's watching and wants to win $25, I'll personally send you $25 on PayPal or a gift card to whatever automotive place you like, AutoZone, Rock Auto, O'Reilly, whatever. I think it'd just be kind of fun to do this with you guys. So
Ryan.
Ryan, it's less than $1,000. That was the one hint. It's a 3-digit number, so you can try again. It is not $1,500. If that was $1,500, I would have probably been doing it myself.
Well, we saw how long it
that
took
is an
you to
absurd
change
amount
the
of money
wheels,
for a steering
so.
angle sensor.
Um,
we got a couple more guesses. Heidi says $965. Interesting. A lot of high guesses here.
Fun.
A bunch in the 8s. Chad, you were in the 8s. Keith's in the 8s. Leroy's in the 8s. There's a bunch of people in the 8s. 789 from Ryan.
Jake going low.
Jake has
Price is Right rules.
Yeah.
He obviously
425. Who's gonna do $1? Actually, that wouldn't work at all because there's a lot of low guesses. Someone said 120. So that's a pretty low guess for all that work. I'm surprised they even had the part in stock. They do have the part in stock because apparently, according to my buddy Sean, who works at Prestige Volvo in East Hanover, which is where I went, what Volvo's done with a lot of these sensors is if you're into old Volvos, there's like DEMs and SEMs and BEMs and all these different like control modules that control different things like the center console or the steering or the head-up display or whatever. They've incorporated a lot of these different modules into one module now, specifically for a bunch of things. So our turn signal wasn't working, so the steering angle sensor actually was integrated into like a lot of these systems. So because the steering angle sensor was starting to go, our turn signals were starting to go. So we couldn't like actually signal correctly. So that's why it's like more than just like $100 part. Usually if you get like a steering angle sensor on an old Volvo, it's like $100, $150, and then you just kind of take your steering wheel off, install it, and you're kind of done. But we got a couple more guesses. $20 is my best offer. That's good. They did, and to Keith's point, that is why they kind of had the part in stock because they just a lot of these sensors just kind of fail sometimes. So it looks like we have a lot of guesses. I'll maybe wait. Chad, you're on the stream. Stop guessing.
I was trying to do the chat equivalent of the Fry meme.
No, the Fry meme is the shut up and take my money. The $3 is the Patrick Star meme. It's like, I have $3.
Okay, you win this round.
All right, we got a couple more guesses. We got Michael with 500, part $20, labor 800. So Yashim, his is 820, which is a hilarious guess. But I think we have enough guesses.
Uh-huh.
Give it another 10 seconds. Anyone else want to guess? No one else. Going once. Going twice. All right. The total for this service from Volvo was $803.31. So that is a absurd amount of money for three things. However, we do have a winner, and I believe it was Ryan T. Feisler. So Ryan, congratulations. You've won $25 with the closest guess. And now I'm out $828.31. So Ryan, if you want, please shoot us a DM, and I will send you. I'll get your PayPal or get whatever place you want, and I'll shoot you an email. But thanks so much, everyone, for guessing. That was a lot of fun. It wasn't fun for my wallet, but it was fun to engage with you guys in that respect. So thanks for playing. We'll do that again another time. I'm sure we'll have lots more.
Yeah, because I have in Volvo news, I'm going to have a bill from the same dealer for the C30 that I will announce in that video. You're gonna have to watch that one on the YouTubes because let's just say it's hysterical for everyone that isn't me. We'll put it that way. C30 still up. It's
very funny for me.
Everything's fine with it. It's a rather embarrassing story. So when we do the video, a couple weeks, you'll have to stay tuned to that because I'm a dumbass. Me, Ryan, or is there another Ryan? I think it's Ryan T.
It's just
Feisler.
Ryan T. Fight. I think it's Feisler.
Yeah,
but yes, Ryan. You, Ryan. I'm messaging you now.
and then we can go from there. So, I actually, while we're on the topic of it, since we have a decent amount of people here, someone share the most painful automotive repair bill you've ever had that isn't related to an accident. So obviously you hit a car, you get damage to your car, it could be $5,000-$6,000. I don't want that. I want mechanical or electrical or something that isn't involving fixing an accident. So excuse me, what is the most painful bill you've ever gotten from a mechanic, whether it be dealer or private?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm trying to think of.
I know which one's yours, Chad.
Do you? Because I don't even know what mine is.
I have two. I have an alphanumeric car for you, and it is M3.
Oh, all of it. All of the M3 was expensive. Everything was painful. Vanos. I think Vanos is. Is Vanos up there? Yeah, Vanos. Yep, that was about $2-ish grand after everything was considered, with the Vanos solenoid, and then there was the brake caliper replacement, and then subsequent re-replacement. I've had some halfway. Oh God, I shouldn't say this out loud. I've had some halfway decent, reliable vehicles. The Focus died because of me, not because it was awful. The second Focus died because of the owner after me. The Lexus I sold and is somewhere on Staten Island on. I think a guy did a whole suspension upgrade on it. The M3, I hope died a Viking's death, but I think it was out. The kid was going to turn it into an autocross car or something.
Nice.
Valve cover gasket replacement, $1,000. I don't know what.
That is a lot.
It feels obscene / trolly. But yeah,
$1,000. Oh man, yeah. Tell them how much your Vanos rebuild was.
How much Vanos was? It's like $1,800.
Yeah, tell them how much your Vanos rebuild was. Do you remember?
It was like $1,800 or $1,800 or $1,900 just to replace the part. I'm not kidding. Is like, you know what? Actually, hold on one second. Greg, entertain the chat.
You might have it. That'd be interesting. You may have the bill. That'd be interesting. All right, what do you guys have? Let's see. So we have You guys are telling us what your most painful mechanic bill is. I'm just going to read a couple of these. So Ben says valve cover gasket replacement, which was $1,000. That's painful. Um, that's my most Calvin. That's my most painful story. Never paying to have it done again. That's good. $80 synthetic oil change. That's a that's I mean that's what I did today. So I guess that's pretty painful. Oh man. Anything Keith says anything or any Mercedes-Benz convertible hardtop. Those hydraulic pumps are the worst and extremely expensive. And the RL time is crazy. Yeah, I would imagine. I can't. I mean, just one being a German car, so it's already over-engineered. Two being a luxury German car, over-engineered and expensive. So I would imagine it's several $1,000s to replace any kind of convertible hardtop on those things, especially those old SLs. Not old, but like early 2000s SLs. I can attest to. I know what those cost. It's like $2, $3, $4, $5,000 for some of them, depending on how bad it is. Let's see. Any other? Oh, here's one. Jafar, welcome back. What's up, man? Nice to have you back on stream, as well as Keith. I know you were here last time, so thank you so much. Jafar says, "Oh, geez, had to pay $6,000 for a new engine in a piece of shit GM product." Well, I mean, it depends on the make and model, but you know, $6,000 is not horrible for an engine, but it's not really that great, obviously.
No.
I do know that if you were, in those E90 M3s or E9X M3s, the S65 engine, if you blow one of those, it's between 10 and 15 grand brand new as a crate engine. So six grand ain't bad in that respect, but you know, a crate engine from Honda is probably like, 1,500 to 3,000. So again, 6 grand, not exactly the best.
Yeah, I went to look for the
4,000. Ooh, Thomas Evans, $4,000 Volvo tranny. Whoa, seriously, a transmission for a Volvo was $4,000. Thomas, please expand on that. Which Volvo, what model, and good Lord, that's an expensive transmission.
Yeah. Shoot.
Jafar says it was a Chevy Traverse, and I had 3 more years of payment on it. Ooh, that's brutal, dude. That's bad. Whew. Man, also 4C and an R. Can attest to that. That's about $2,500. That's a lot of money. So, Chad, you disappeared for a second after talking about Vanos from BMW.
Yes.
I thought you got PTSD and just ran away, but you're back.
Yeah.
So
thought about it. No, so it's funny. It's somewhere buried in my garage. I think it's currently being blocked by the Mustang, but I actually kept the old Vanos solenoid.
Oh wow.
As a reminder to never get seduced by the ultimate driving machine ever again. So, but
yeah, it's good. Mounted on the wall.
It's like legitimately no wider than this piece, this like half legal notebook, and like maybe
gosh.
that. It's the tiniest piece, but they have to basically disassemble the front of the engine.
That's crazy.
Valve cover or all the stuff. The head doesn't come off, but everything else does. It's awful. And
that's crazy.
Don't buy high mileage BMWs. Anyone who's thinking about it, don't do it. Unless you're planning on LS swapping, then totally do
it. I think you can buy a high mileage BMW M3 if it's an E9, if it's an E9X, and you have documentation of rod bearings and throttle actuators done. Yeah. Other than that, I would agree with that statement. But the S65 engines are pretty good for BMW. They're probably one of the top 3, if not top 2 engines they've ever made. They do high mileage pretty decently, but the rod bearings need to be done. If the rod bearings aren't done, it's just a big old grenade just waiting to happen.
That's any high performance BMW engine ever
in
the history of all time.
In the history of ever.
Yeah. So so in any rate, what was your? Yes. I don't know. Did you explain to chat your most painful?
Oh, I didn't actually. My most painful bill actually wasn't a bill of something breaking. It was actually just building my V70R. So that was just building. For those of you in chat that don't know, we do a YouTube channel. And just to get back to it really quick, Thomas Evans says an 01 V70 T5 car wasn't even worth $4,000, and that's what the tranny build on it was $4,000 to replace. That sucks, man. That's pretty brutal. But on the oh my gosh, Peter Parker, thank you for joining Spider-Man. Very nice, and I'm sure you've never heard that before. Um, Try $18,000 for a reconditioned engine for a Nissan Patrol. Oh yes, Nissan Patrols are sweet, but and blow it up in less than 30,000, and they wash their hands of it. Oh, that's probably going to be the worst of the night.
Wow.
That's brutal. That's
Just
brutal.
uh,
Um,
just come and swap them.
yeah,
That's
that's
that's what you call it. Skid Factory did. They put a 5.9 12 valve bottom end 24 valve head in a Nissan Patrol.
yikes.
Where yeah,
I said yikes because there's one that's worse than that, but it's a McLaren, so it's not a Nissan. Jake Whitehead says 2012 McLaren, so we're talking MP412C, I would imagine. Headlights, $22,000. Customer wanted it because they were foggy. Probably could have just wet sanded it, bro. It would have been totally fine,
what?
unless the fog was on the inside and it was like a sealed kind of thing. Then it's different, but yikes.
And if you have McLaren money, you have clean my headlights man kind of money.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Jake, let us know. Let us know in the chat what exactly happened there. I want to hear the story on that.
Actually,
But
the wheel
in the
speed
meantime, mine.
the wheel speed sensor.
What's that? Go ahead.
Now that I think about it, the wheel speed sensor in the Mustang and the new hub was like $900.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Not quite $22,000, but it's a lot. Yeah, so yeah, mine was building the V70R. And for those of you that are you guys that are watching, if you don't know, we have a YouTube channel called Shifting Lanes. Obviously, we also have a new channel called Shifting Lanes 2, which we've moved all of our like personal cars and highlights from this stream on. So if you want to like rewatch yourself in conversing with us or just watch us, vlogging about our cars, you can go there. But when we had just the single channel, Shifting Lanes, we did a lot of Volvo stuff in the past, and I built my V70R with the boys up at Rolling Motors in Connecticut. And that bill was, I think, just over $8,000, but it was a build. It wasn't like I took it in for service and that's what happened. It wasn't like a blown tranny or a blown motor or anything, but that was like a full build. They stripped it down, they shimmed the block, they put on a new hybrid turbo, oil cooler, machined head, ported head, bigger injectors, like intercooler install, like the whole kind of nine. And that was, for all that was done, $8,500 really wasn't a bad bill. It was just, it was budgeted for, and that's what it was. But it was about $8,000 to build that whole car up, which was really fun to do. But that's probably the worst. That was the worst I've ever had as a bill, kind of going in to it, like get stuff fixed. I'd probably say it was probably on the XC90. We needed like a big service done, as well as new brakes, as well as this, that, and the other thing. And they covered some of it under the CPO warranty. But if it wasn't covered, it would have been like $3,500. So that bill, I think, was just over about $1,500, which was nice. So it would have been like $3,500. That's probably the biggest I've ever seen. Jafar, thank you so much again. 500 stars. Amazing. You are an absolute legend. And guys, if you don't know what Jafar just did on Facebook, stars are basically like a digital currency to say thank you for us, just being here chatting with you. So Jafar, thank you so much. As always, you legend. You're amazing, and thank you again for all of your support. If you guys want to support us, you can send stars. You can also just keep watching our videos and doing this, as well as, if you would like, you can go sign up for our subscriber group. There's a subscriber group as well on our Facebook page. You can go check that out as well. But Jafar continues to lead the pack on the stars given leaderboard, which there is actually a leaderboard on Facebook backend, which we can see. He is by far and away the leader in that. So thank you so much again, Jafar. Appreciate you, man. Chad, I can't hear you, Chad. Are you muted?
So anyway, as I was
now I can hear you
saying to my cat and dog, Jafar also mentions that he's like, heard about the system you're talking about for the BMW, and that has defeated a lot of people who love that particular BMW. The system's more like Thanos, and you were like the Avengers trying to fix the problem. Yes, except in my case, I just made it someone else. I made it someone else's problem. I guess is the best way. Because after that, after the brake caliper seized and all that, I was literally, the plan for that car was to buy it, enjoy it, completely redo the entirety of the interior. And then, enjoy it so it could actually race against the V70R. Like, that was the whole plan of it because, Greg said, oh, M3 killing Volvo. And it's like, let's get an M3 and find out. And then, of course, I guess Thor came down and smited my BMW, and that was it. So, but yeah, the crazy thing about that car is I still have yet to find a car that matched how that car felt. Just the way where the axle was and how
it's a pure sports car. It really is.
That car had the most communicative rear end and what the tires were doing at the back end out of any car I've ever driven. The Mustang's very close second. It's very close. But that little bit of distance is makes up a huge amount. So it's like, but it's funny. Greg sits here and says $8,000. Now, when you say $8,000 for the R, that was everything all in, or was that just to have Ben do the work?
That wasn't everything all in. That was just Ben's work.
Okay.
That was just the build. That was just like the engine build, and getting it to about 425 to 450 crank horsepower.
Gotcha. Okay. Now I was just gonna say, I was like, that is an adorable bill. God, I don't want to know how much I'm getting the Mustang. Oh.
It's going to be a lot, my friend. It's going to be a lot.
Just the supercharger kit alone was $6,000. So
yeah, that's
throw in
crazy.
another $4,000 for the
crazy.
transmission, $2,000 for the clutch and flywheel. Send stars, please.
Yeah. We talk about like money and like spending stuff on the channel. Like a lot of it's our personal money too. Like this isn't just it's not like just shifting lanes money. A lot of it is shifting lanes money. We roll basically everything we make into this, the YouTube channel, and all that like back into our cars. But like the V70R, like a considerable amount of that money was like my own personal money. So this isn't just like, hey, we make a ton of money on YouTube, which we don't, and we just like throw money at our cars. Like that's not like reality. Like we do like spend our money on stuff. Like the Polestar out there was through a lot of hard work, personal money, sold the V70R, sold my E90 M3 and used that, bought the Polestar and still had to shell out $10,000 in a loan. So, Chad saying like that thing for $6,000, the supercharger for $6,000, it's like that's some shifting lanes money, but it's it's some of his too. There's like hard work over time, just like saving up and trying to do what you guys do. Same thing, backyard engineer and save up and try to get as much as we can done with our cars that we love. That's it.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, not for nothing, I am tens of $1,000s in the hole when you consider shifting lanes as a business.
Definitely.
You might want to go to our other channel, Shifting Lanes Finances, for great business advice on how to lose money with cars. But we had a couple comments. Xavier and Mark, I'll get to you guys about Nissan in just a second. Not skipping over you for any other reason other than that leads us into one of our topics of the day.
Also, hello, Mark.
Yep, Mark is...
Thanks for joining, bud.
The man. Thomas asks, do you have any idea how much the Polestar build will cost?
On the whole, no, just because I'm not really going bananas like I did with the R. I'm going to put an exhaust on it. I'm going to do a tune. I'm going to do a couple more things, and that's really it. I'm not going to like take this whole thing apart, shim the block, big injectors, oil. I'm not doing that. But like a drop-in intercooler, a tune, and a downpipe, which I have and still need to install. That's probably going in next week, and like maybe an intake. Just some general bolt-ons. Like all in, it'll probably be around $3,000 to $4,000 with labor. So it's not like it won't be as much as the R because that 8,000 was just the engine stuff. The R overall probably was over 20 with everything, and that includes like maintenance, exhaust, full build, new wheels and tires, this, that, and the other thing happening. blah blah blah. It was a lot of money spent from like shifting lanes and saving up as well. So that whole thing was like over 20K, I'd say. I think I made a video about it, and it was like $25,000 by the time I everything was like all in on that. But that again, that's over like a 3 year period of time too, and making money through YouTube and doing this, that, and the other thing. So it all sort of adds up over time. But the Polestar build won't be as much because that's my daily, and I won't be going nuts with that until I can secure a second car as a backup in case something does happen.
Gotcha. So, I hit the wrong button and chat disappeared on stream. I apologize.
Oh no, they're still there. I promise.
Yeah. Um, it'll catch up in a second. Anywho, uh, so back to Xavier's
Also,
comment. Why?
oh, real quick, thank you, Doug. Um, thank you, Doug, for. But please do make lots of money from YouTube and throw it at your cars. We enjoy seeing it. Thank you. We enjoy doing it. We will try. Keep watching, man. We're trying.
So yeah, I as Mark so eloquently put, I broke it, and I'm yeah. Anywho, before we dwell on Greg's distracting, wait, what? Xavier and Mark
Yes.
ask a question. Like, basically, Xavier brings up, why are we talking about Subaru losing its touch when Nissan is the biggest letdown from where they came from? It's hilarious. Seriously, and Mark retorts with, seriously, Nissan is a sad, hollow shell of itself. While I do agree, you still do have things like the new Z, which is an enthusiast based car built upon an enthusiast based platform, regardless of how old it is. You still have an R36 GTR coming, and then like everybody else, everything else is not quite what it used to be. I mean, it'd be nice to see how many little sports cars can you have? I mean, in a world with the Z already, can we really have another chassis or what have you? Maybe some hot hatches, but hot hatches as a whole are kind of dying out, with the exception of the Corolla GR. But the reason we're talking about Subaru, and the reason I think Greg has left, is because he used to own a Subaru.
I'm here. I'm getting another drink because I need one for this conversation.
Now, if you guys were with us, what was it, yesterday or Saturday? I forget which one. Hanson went live because he has the new WRX GT. And
Yes, and did a live stream here on the Facebook page.
he did. We had a lot of great involvement. If you ever want to see kind of the pre-review process or kind of talk through a review with Hanson, definitely check those out. They're actually pretty entertaining. It's almost like an interactive review, so it's pretty cool. But, and this is a Herculean, J-Lo-ian, Titan-sized butt. The WRX. Okay, it's great that we have another WRX. It's great to see it hasn't been killed off. An all-wheel drive, fun little rally-inspired car is definitely something we sorely need, especially since there's no more Focus RS and no more Evo, no more any of that sort of stuff. So,
Yep.
We need these cars. We need cars like this to live on, because otherwise we're just going to end up with crossover after crossover after crossover. And that's nothing any of us want. None of us got into cars to say, look at the practicality of that thing and the ground clearance and the fuel of it. None of us. Not one soul of us has ever looked at a crossover and been like, yes, I would like to drive that fast. Well, maybe you want to drive it fast, but you don't want to, there's better tools for that particular job. And that's my
Correct.
first gripe with this. This is effectively based. This is a crossover chassis with a sedan body put on it. Now, if this is what it takes to give us cars like this, I'm okay with that. However, Subaru then decided that we're really going to just make it look somewhat similar to the old one. It has some new styling cues, things like that. But it really, to my mind, looks a lot like the old one.
Yeah.
And those fender flares in black, which apparently are textured like a golf ball, but the golf ball templing is meant for a body in motion, not just, at any rate, rotational. Physics lesson aside. They look awful. They cheapen it. I don't like the way it really accentuates just the big hole and how it makes the wheels look smaller. It's just not good looking at all. The car as a whole is, in my opinion, a lazy piece of design. It doesn't look like a WRX. It looks like an Impreza that just so happens to have a hot motor in it. And last but not least, this is, again, the GT model. And this is the top of the range. This has adaptive suspension. This has the better interior. This has Recaro seats that you can only get in the GT model. All the things you want in a performance vehicle, and it has a CVT transmission. Only. No,
well,
not as...
Wait, which one? The GT trim?
The GT trim.
Yeah, correct.
And that's where Subaru completely loses me. Like, just completely, I'm done with this brand. You're basically caving into... and I get they're a business. They need to make money. Crossovers make money. I get it. I totally get it. But when there's a manual box available in the lower trims and you cannot be bothered to put it in the top of the level trim, because God forbid people our age who like the performance, like all of that stuff, but are also far enough down in life that we like some of the creature comforts, a nice interior, nice supportive seats, all that sort of stuff. But we want a manual, and you can't have it. And not for nothing. And Hansen said that like the CVT does a good job mimicking a regular like geared transmission. It does a good job of making the downshifts crisp and all this other stuff. It has paddle. It has a manual. Forget it. I don't care. The only time, really, anything 600 horsepower and above, I get a dual clutch or some form of not third pedal derived transmission. In a vehicle with 4 horsepower, give us a freaking manual. That's the point.
Yeah, and cars. There is a manual. It's just on a lower trim. But to your point, like I agree with you. If you're gonna have a top of the line trim, give it a manual option, especially in something like this. If it's gonna be like a top of the line trim in whatever BMW X5, like no one's gonna buy that. So obviously there's not gonna be a manual trim in something like that, or even like another sedan like Subaru Legacy. No one's gonna buy a top of the line Subaru Legacy with a manual. This is a sports performance car by Subaru. This is your demographic. They want the manual. Give the top of the line trim a manual option. It's absurd. I totally agree with you. And we don't agree on a lot of stuff, but I totally agree with you. Like this is such a huge miss. This whole to me, like and I'm sure the car drives great. We have friends at Prime Motoring that are a very well-known Subaru tuner, and if you are a Subaru owner or know of any Subaru stuff in the tri-state area of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, you should definitely go check them out. They're fantastic. We do our all-wheel drive dynos there. I bring my like all-wheel drive Volvos to get dynoed after stuff like that. They're fantastic. They're amazing, and they build amazing cars too. So if you want to do a Subaru build, they are the guys to go to. They have an amazing tuner, and they're just generally awesome guys. They have one of these, and they have said that it is leaps and bounds above the last generation Subaru WRX. However, there are things that people can't get over: the looks, the lack of a manual on the top of the line trim. Like this is the embodiment of the death of the WRX. That's just what it is. There's no other way of saying it. This car looks the sense, like a crossover sedan. This is
a sense that they made it because they felt guilty or felt like they had to, not because they wanted to.
Correct.
It's just...
and I get why they're putting CVTs in these things. They did it in the last generation. It's to attract a newer audience. They sold more WRXs than ever with the last generation, the 2015 plus. And they're going to do it again here. They're going to sell more cars. I think the numbers, I forget, don't quote me on this. I need to go look it up. But I think about a quarter of orders, so 25% of all orders, come with the CVT, regardless of trim. So it's, it's Doug is right. It's the 1973 Mustang and WRXs. It's 100%
it's
accurate.
The WRX2.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Roman numeral 2. I mean, this is, I know, Xavier, I totally agree with you, and I know you've said it a couple times. What an infuriating discussion. It really is, because it's infuriating. I
We are
used to
pissed.
own a
Like
WRX.
that's
So, how infuriating do you think it is for me to see this pile of crap? Yay! Like, it's not real. Like, and I say pile of crap. It's not a pile of crap. It's going to be an amazing performer. I know 100% that it's going to be a great tuning car. It's going to handle like nothing, like no other. But there's just certain things about it that are not WRX focused. It's that this is turning into like, how do we sell more cars? And that's how BMW and Mercedes totally watered down their entire lineups. And we got like the F80 generation of BMWs where it got really soft. No one really liked it for a while, and they had said that all the driving dynamics went out of the car. Same thing. Like I feel like if they do continue the WRX after this generation, I feel like it's going to get softer. I feel like it's going to become more like an SUV or a crossover, and that's just it. Sort of like the Eclipse Cross. It's just very frustrating to see something like this. And to Chad's point before, I had a 2014 WRX hatchback, the last run of the hatchback variants before they went to the 2015 sedan only. And I had the limited trim. I had the leather. I had the nicer stuff. There was a couple of upgrades. It wasn't a lot, but like it had full leather, and you never see WRXs with like full leather. I really liked it and enjoyed it. The leather was actually really good. It was not like a full leather like you get with like luxury cars, but I had the car for like 5 years, and it looked brand new when I sold it.
you had
Like
that
it
thing for
looked
5
really good.
years.
I had it for 5 years. Yeah,
Holy crap!
the interior looked brand new when I sold it. It was crazy, and I mean I don't know. I just the GT trim on this it just deserves a manual. End of story.
It does, and again, to your point, this is how the WRX dies.
I think so.
I
At least as an enthusiast car.
again,
I think it'll
we
live
are
on
getting
as
an,
like
we aren't getting an enthusiast type vehicle, but it's like there's a new boss at Subaru, and he's like, all right, everybody's doing this and selling cars like crazy, we're gonna do this. And then there's that like one guy covered in dirt and transmission fluid being like, we come from rallying, we need to make we should probably keep making this, people won't like, and he's like, ugh, all right, listen, Xavier.
yeah.
Like it's just I can't take it. It's
Yeah.
at any rate.
Oh, Doug made a great point. It looks cheap even for a Subaru. That's an excellent point because Subarus are not expensive cars. Their most expensive car is the Ascent, and you can get that like fully optioned as like over 50 grand. Yeah, like there's not really a luxurious looking Subaru. Subarus mostly look like cheap economical cars. Like that's just what Subaru is. That's the cars they make, and they know their demographic, and people buy them, and they are good cars. But this does look cheap. The plastic cladding does not help, and no matter what they want to say about it has golf ball texture and blah blah blah, whatever smoke they want to blow up our butts, it's just not the same. Like paint those things, and I mean I know why they did that. They're not saying it. It's to inhibit rust because Subarus, especially Subarus, rust. Why? Because most people buy them in the U.S. at least in the Rust Belt. So anything above like Tennessee, so Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maine, Pacific Northwest, Montana, like most Subarus are sold above Tennessee because that's where most of the snow comes from. Subarus are legendary for their all-wheel drive. So Subarus rust. Lots of cars rust. It's not a knock on Subaru. It's just that's what happens. Subaru's WRXs specifically have a lot of rust issues because people love to modify them. They love to roll fenders. I had some paint issues. Subaru paint is total garbage. I will say that out loud with no qualms whatsoever. Subaru paint is trash. It always has been, always will be. So I think they did this a lot to inhibit rust around wheel arches, around rocker panels, around front end and rear, because those are the four main areas of rust on all Subarus that I've ever seen. maybe there is another reason, but I feel like that's part of the reason why they've done that. And that's part of the reason why a lot of these cars have done that, is so that you don't have these metal arches around the wheels that could potentially get rock chips or bend and then rust, and then you have to replace a fender or something. It's a big expense. Here, all you got to do is pop off a piece of plastic, pop on a new one. Pretty cheap, right?
Yeah,
So
but at the
I
end
think
of the day, you could have done
personally, I
that
think
and
that's what they did.
done it body color, because you know what that thing directly in front of it is, or directly behind it, depending on what side of the car you're on. It's plastic.
Well, I know.
You know,
I know. But that's just my conspiracy theory
I mean,
for the day.
the C30
I
has
don't know.
something similar to that, and they get it in
Yeah.
body color. So whatever.
Yep.
Just wrap this up. Xavier,
Yes.
I agree with you 100%. This doesn't look like an enthusiast. This doesn't look like an enthusiast vehicle. I lost it. Basically the Camry looks more exciting than this, the new one. I agree. There's just bring back the STI hatchback. No, not sexy. Keith, I love you, but no.
Disagree.
Subaru
STI hatch is
Subaru
awesome, Keith. I'm
hatchbacks
with
were
you.
an affront to humanity.
Disagree. Owned one. They were awesome.
Just because you owned it doesn't mean it was all. That's like me saying the IS300 is the best luxury sports sedan ever made just because I owned it.
No, I honestly think that the GR version is one of the better looking ones, but that's just me. It's an opinion, and it's wrong for a lot of people. I loved it.
Subaru, the WRX and STI variant ceased to be pretty or really good looking cars after the Hawkeye. The Hawkeye was the last good looking Subaru, in my opinion. After that, they got not offensive, not like this. This is just this is a giant middle finger to everyone.
We'll leave it on the one thing we can't agree on, and we'll say it on three. What is the best looking WRX or Subaru of this thing? 1, 2, 3.
GC8.
The GC8. Thank you. And we all know that that's the best one. 22B guys. I mean, that's the best looking Subaru ever made. There is zero question about that.
I could not agree more. But
so
we're gonna move on. We're gonna move topics to another small, fast Japanese car that we, unlike the Subaru, disagree immensely on. So if you want to see Greg and I get into an argument, here we go. So Greg, I want you to tell everyone why you're wrong in liking this car. So
I'm not. Thanks. See you next stream. So this is, if anyone has gotten it yet. Really quick, one comment. The Subaru, that actually is a thing. Xavier, I'm not sure if you know what that is. Saab and Subaru actually work together on like an older Subaru WRX, and I think it's the Saab 92X. You could get a Saab that's basically a Subaru WRX. They work together on that. But yeah, that's why it's called the Subaru. And on that note, this is the new Civic Type R. And I love it. I think it's awesome. And big fan. I like the old one just because of how wacky it was.
It was ugly.
I mean,
it was awful. Affront to
there's
good
the
taste.
first disagreement. Yashim says, lost a lot of character. It did. It did lose a lot of character. This is a lot more subdued. This is a much more refined looking car. I'm a huge fan of this. I think it looks great. I think it is going to be another world beater because I drove the last version of this thing, and apart from the Mustang GT350R, that probably blew my mind just about as much because of what it could do. The way this thing does torque vectoring. Now, I'm not sure if this one is going to have the same trick torque vectoring because of how this car is set up, and they talked about it a lot in the press release, and some of the journals talked about it. This has a much wider track on the tires. This thing has 265 section tires, whereas the old one had 245s, and they had room for the actual torque vectoring stuff in the last one. I'm not sure if it's going to be in this one. I'm sure there will be, but the last one was bananas how it cornered. Like, for a front-wheel drive car, felt like more than a front-wheel drive car. Not a full all-wheel drive, but it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. I love this thing. I think it's great. I think it looks good. Not sure how it's going to sound. I think there's a couple audio clips from this, but I think it's going to sound great. And I think it's cool because it is a fast, hot hatch, hot sedan thing that's not really being made much. I think we're in our last sort of hurrah of that. And Chad mentioned it earlier with like the GR Corolla, this, the new WRX, which we just talked about. I don't think there are going to be a lot more cars like this made because we're doing the EV thing. That's what everyone's going towards. But I love it. I think it looks fantastic. I'm a big fan. I would purchase this based on looks. I'm a big fan.
Okay. Everything you said was technically correct. It is much better looking than
the best kind of correct.
Yes. But it is better looking than the last one. It will have world-beating performance, as Type Rs always do. It is an amazing piece of engineering. Where it loses me, and I understand it's the times I get it. The times we live in call for turbocharging. That's just the world we live in. If you want power, you got to go turbo. You can't. But what is Honda's identity? What was
screaming small displacement NA 4-cylinders?
The first engine Honda ever made for a car. The first car they made was an S600, S500. I think there was an S600 or a 500, 600, and 800, somewhere in that. And but those were cars launched the same year as Lamborghini started. So in the 60s, the 60s, and they could rev well into the 8,000s and even 9,000 RPM. Honda's identity, their very soul, is the screaming 4-cylinder engine. Arguably, when you think 4-cylinder, 2-seat sports car, you think BRZ, Miata, and the best of the bunch, the S2000. Why? Because it had a monumental redline. It didn't make a shit ton of power. It only made like 250 horsepower, which you could get close to 300 with some tasteful mods. But that is the identity of Honda. I don't care how good it goes around a corner, which fantastic. It's fast. It's it does all that stuff. Here's the bottom line. If you're trying to eke out the last piece of performance around every corner on your back road drive, you're missing the point, because you're eventually going to miss the apex and hit that tree. So the soul of Hondas and what made Honda so great were those, like the B16, the K20, the K24, the F20 and 22. Like those engines howled. And and I can tell you with the Mustang, having a 7,500 RPM redline, which isn't that high compared to these 4-cylinders, but it is stupid high for an American V8. The joy is running it through the revs. Going fast is just a byproduct of it. But let's just put it this way. You have the F22, which revved to 8,800 RPM. Give it a little more compression, let it breathe a little bit better, and you're going to be knocking 275, 280, maybe a little bit more if you feel like getting crazy. But that engine had a higher specific output of any naturally aspirated engine. So power per, I think it was liter, more than a Ferrari, more than all of these things. Those were legendary engines. Those were the engines that get everybody excited about fast Hondas, and all that sort of stuff. I don't get excited because a turbocharger muffles sound, even though you can get a loud turbocharger. I get that, but a turbocharger just kind of dulls yes, there is the drama of nothing boost. I get that. I've driven a turbocharged car. I've owned turbocharged cars. I get it. But this car would have been so much better for it if it had less horsepower, a big red line, and was naturally aspirated. And it's just, I mean, it'd be like Lamborghini putting in their next, like whatever replaces the Aventador with the most technologically advanced Give it free valve like Koenigsegg has. Give it every bell and whistle of technology we have today, but it's a V6 and a turbocharger. Tell me Lamborghini's going to be the same with that engine versus the V12, and they won't be. And that is the same thing for me here with the new Type R.
I totally hear your point, and I mean it is a valid point, and I get it, but it's also Honda, and it's not Lamborghini. So Honda's here to sell cars. So is Lamborghini, but they understand that it's at a much smaller volume. Honda wants to sell cars, and the times dictate that we need turbocharging. So, therefore,
On a Type R?
we have a Civic Type R. What?
On a Type R? What are Type R sales versus, like a regular Civic? Is it 1 in 30, 1 in 50? I don't know. I'm asking.
Well, yeah, but you also still have to take into account the R&D behind these things. So they're not going to just develop a totally brand new screaming NA engine just for the Type R. They're going to utilize what they've already put into other cars. So
like a K20,
that's cost-cutting measures.
K24, F22, engines from 10 years ago, updated.
Sure, but you're talking about stuff from 10 years ago. They're not going to put a 10-year-old engine in this car.
Why? Chevy does.
They're not. Yeah, but Chevy's different.
An evolution of an LS that's been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Also, let's put a pushrod V8 in this. Speaking of Chevy.
Why not?
Let's do it. Send stars.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
Send millions of stars.
But I'm saying that, look, it's not so much the R&D that's killing my beautiful dream. It's more the actual factories themselves. So they have the R&D done on these high performance, high revving output, but the tooling, the factories have been reset. The factory's all set for the new stuff, and I totally get that, and I totally understand that, and I love the fact that we have a non-hybrid, stupid fast, small car, like the cars we grew up wanting because they were fast and we could kind of sort of afford them. I'm just saying that when they decided to go down this turbocharging path years ago, there should have been something set aside for, you know what, we're going to want to do one last hurrah of our roots. And I don't know, Type R could have been it. I think they fell into the horsepower wars and they saw that like a Focus RS and all these other, the Subaru STI back when they made it, when Subaru cared. They saw the horsepower and they thought if we come out with something less, we're not going to really be able to compete. And I mean, and Hansen will tell you, his Veloster N doesn't make Type R power, I don't even think it makes 300 horsepower, but it's stupid fun.
275 stock, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I get where you're saying with your logical, stupid main hat wearing brain, but
LL Bean, please sponsor. No, and I see your point too. Like, Honda was built off very high revving, naturally aspirated engines, and that's like an enthusiast focused thing, especially like with the S2000. Great example. Highest revving 4-cylinder engine ever made for a long time.
Not ever made, but at the time it was the highest revving.
At the time, or no, sorry, it was the most horsepower 4-cylinder NA ever produced at the time. Right. That was I think the claim. But Xavier's from Maine. Hey, I love Maine. I have family up there, so I'm with you, man. I got family up outside of Portland, and I'll be up there. I'll be up there in a couple of weeks in August for a family vacation. So I'm a big fan of Maine.
Get out of Maine in August, Xavier.
You probably don't want to be there. Plan to not be there in late August. But yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, I don't know. Just driving the old version is, I don't know. I think the driving the old version is a shot against that whole argument, just because of how good it is and because of the technology. Like, I love old stuff. I love old school stuff. From pushrod V8s all the way through screaming NA 4-cylinders. But I don't know, the way that thing drove, it like literally changed my mind about front wheel drive cars. Like, I've owned front wheel drive cars. I don't really like them, but for what front wheel drive cars are capable of, the last one of this, and I'm sure this will change my mind again if I get to drive one, um, totally warped my perception of like what is possible from an engineering perspective. Because let's face it, front wheel drive cars are inherently not as good as an all-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive car from an enthusiast standpoint. You're not going to be as fast. The weight is wrong. The grip profile is wrong. And the front-wheel drive cars are wonderful commuter cars. They're wonderful commuter cars because they get great gas mileage. They have excellent front-end balance. And they only use two-wheel drive in the most efficient way possible. Great. That's perfect. Throw that in a commuter car. As an enthusiast car, Then I drove the last version of this thing, and I was just like, holy shit, was I wrong? I was super wrong, because the way the torque vectoring on that works is completely mind screw. It really is. And the other one I mentioned was the Mustang GT350. Like, you get in a Mustang and you think you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a big V8. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to do some tire smoke, and it's going to be a great time. And then you put that GT350 on track, and it warps your perception, again, of what something is capable of. And I knew Mustangs were good performance cars, you know, if they were set up right, blah, blah, blah. That's why they've been in, you know, GT series and racing with a Mustang since basically it was in existence. So it's not like an underperforming car, but like certain things just like really stick with you. Those two cars have always stuck with me because of how good they are, and totally warped my perception of like what cars can do when engineering meets like old school technology, and they beautifully mesh and they just keep going. And that's what the old one did for the Civic Type R for me. And I think this new one is going to just completely blow the old one out of the water, especially because this one already beat the front wheel drive record from Suzuka, the F1 track, that the old one, the limited edition, by almost a full second, which in racing car terms is an eternity. So I cannot wait to see what this thing does otherwise. Pretty insane. So I'm excited for it. You know, turbocharged or not, I'm glad we have it. Oh man. And I've been put on the screen that I'm wrong on. This is great. You ass. You dick. That's hysterical. Anyway, apart from that, let's get to the comments, because, you know, I could say things now that are very flattering to the comments, and apparently I'm wrong. Let's see. Doug makes an excellent point. I bet the Euro regs on motors over 2 liters made a big factor. Easier to have a small 2-liter global motor these days. I think you're 100% right, even though my face says that I'm wrong. I think that that's a very, very good point. And a lot of these companies and cars are going to global platforms. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it. Xavier goes, principle of the matter is none of these brands have a distinctive trait anymore. Tell me why a Nissan 400ZX or the new Nissan Z was compared to a Mustang Mach 1, but it makes no sense, but it is. I mean, you know, you're always going to want to kind of compare sports cars. So, you know, that's probably why that happened. AE is back, chat.
AE.
Oh man, Abdalila, I believe is Abdalila. Please phonetically, it is AE again. Please phonetically pronounce your name for us in chat. I really want to learn how to pronounce your name. Please. Just came to say hey. I was going to bed, but when I saw you were live, I'm going to say hey. Well, thanks for dropping in. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your support and dropping in again as well. Front of the Civic is way cooler than the older generation. Back end is not that interesting, specifically with that spoiler. Too big, thumbs down. I want to go ahead and disagree with you on the second part. First part, agree. Front end is way cooler. Even though I like the last generation, I'm a big fan of this front end. I think it's aggressive and nice looking. I like the back end. I like the booty. It's nice. It's got a good spoiler. I like that it's mounted sort of up a little higher on the what is it? I guess that would be the C pillar, even though there's no real. Yeah, I guess we'll say C pillar. Um, I think it's that it's up a little bit on the C pillar. I think that's kind of nice. It's definitely a more subdued look for sure. And a lot of people don't like that. I think this is a very love hate thing. A lot of people loved the last one because of how bonkers it was. A lot of people hated the old one because of how bonkers it was. I think same thing here. I think those same people are kind of away, at split again because this is more subdued, which is the people that hated the last one now love, and the people that loved the last one now hate. So it's kind of like flipped the script a little bit. Chad's in that camp. Chad hated the last one, probably likes the looks of this one a whole lot better.
It's a much better looking vehicle, and don't look. I get that this thing is capable of really doing some amazing things. It's I saw a couple chats like nobody has like I think Xavier was saying the principal matter is none of these brands have a distinctive trait anymore. Tell me why a Nissan 400CX was compared to a Mustang Mach 1. It makes no sense, but it is. The reason it is,
I did that.
It's I don't understand the Mach 1, but it is going to be similarly priced to a Mustang GT. So
drink time.
Some people might cross shop that as sort of a fun two-seater because they don't necessarily know the difference between the two platforms. It's just when it comes to this I've never been a huge fan of Honda. I've only recently come on board with I've only recently come on board with the fact that I like Honda engines. As some of you guys have I should say, one of my dream builds is to take a old Datsun 510, put a built K24 in it. They make one that's about 360 horsepower, 9,000 plus RPM redline, and just go have a great time on back roads because you can rev that engine all the way up, shift, have fun, be engaged with the drive. The Mustang is hella fun, but if I approach redline in third gear, the ticket's going to be immense. So that Doug asks, do you think cars like this see repeat buyers? Do you think they change things up in order to appeal to a different crowd after they sell everyone they think wants the old one? I think there is an element of repeat buyer to some of these cars. Some of the fanboys want to have the latest and greatest, and they'll trade the old one in and get the new one. I think it's more of just they see it, right? They go, okay, this car's did well, but sales are declining. It's time for an update. And this, I believe, is more than just a simple update. I think it's a re-engineering. But it's to entice the people who want it. That sounds dumb as hell in my head as I say it out loud, but what I mean by that is that you get the new one. So let's just say hypothetically, the people who bought the old one loved it. It wasn't for everyone stylistically, and maybe that's why sales declined over time. Whereas this one, a little more subdued, a little more, dare I say, grown up, is going to appeal to a wider array of people who say, hey, I like the performance, and now I like the body. That's kind of why you get most of these refreshes. Also because it's just time. The reason you get a new Mustang every 6-8 years and then a mid-model refresh every 3 to 4 is because Ford is constantly evolving the vehicle. You look at the difference between my Mustang, which is a 2015, a first generation S550, compared to a 2018, and all the way up to now. It got a body refresh, but it also got upgrades to the engine, more compression, better intake manifold, etc., more power. I just think how you package a car matters. To a lot of us, if you say Mustang got a more powerful engine, looked the same, got more powerful engine, looked the same, I think we'd be all right with that. Whereas the general public, the people who really just drive sales with these types of cars, they like the new. They like, oh, this is a 2018. Why should I look like the peasants who bought the 2015, 16, and 17? Especially when they're starting to come up on the resale market. Everybody wants new. It's a reason why there's a new iPhone every 48 seconds. You know, people want the latest and greatest.
Accurate.
So, but we've been talking about two cars that really annoyed me. One annoyed Greg, but Greg, what new car launch? It could be from years ago, it could be this year. What new car launch disappointed you the most? And this goes for you too, Chad.
That is
the new car launch that disappointed you more than any other car.
That is an extremely loaded question. Can I tell you which one that I loved the most first? Because that's an easy one.
Is it a Volvo?
No, it's the new Ford GT because no one knew it was happening. I'm a huge fan of car shows, and I love car shows like New York Auto Show, Tokyo, LA, Geneva, Detroit. Like, I think car shows are awesome, and I loved that car manufacturers released their new cars at these car shows for like the public to see, for the journalists to see for the first time. Now, and this is just a sign of the times. Like, now they do it in these like little private events. They do online reveals and stuff like that. But that's like the internet age that we live in. I wish that would kind of go away and we go back to like doing things at the car shows. And when the new GT was revealed, nobody knew what was coming. They basically just drove it out on stage and everyone lost their shit. That was one of the coolest moments, probably the coolest moment for me in the last 20 years for cars at all, period. I think it really was like a seminal moment for cars because of, like, we all know through spy shots, people sit in the Nürburgring all day with iPhones and just take pictures and videos and just throw them up on YouTube. Like, we've known that there's been an M3 Touring coming out for like a year and a half. And then, like, we knew what it was going to look like, and we knew that was going to happen. First M3 Touring ever. Big news. Huge news. Like, that's cool. An M3 wagon, that's pretty awesome. Like, never happened before. But we've already known. So, like, who cares at this point? Same thing happened with, like, the NSX. Like, Acura dragged their feet, and blah, 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 and then this, that, and the other thing. Like, everyone knew it was coming eventually. The GT was one of those things where it was just the most mic drop moment imaginable. And that was really cool. Like, I loved that. I think it really was like the coolest thing to happen in all of cardom in the last 20 years. Because if you go back and watch that press conference, you just see, like, you hear like audible gasps. Like, that is just so cool to me that no one knew. They did it in secret. That's very cool. Yeah, oh yeah, Doug, Ford Bronco, longest launch ever. Yeah, we knew there was a new Bronco coming for like the last like better part of a decade. So, like, it's another thing. Like, just don't say anything and then just reveal it. Like, that would make more of an impact for all of these car manufacturers than just, like, leading up to it and doing these like soft reveals and then big reveals and whatever. With the one that I don't know, the one that infuriated me the most is tough because I really have to like kind of think about it.
Well, while you're thinking, we'll go right into Keith's nomination for most disappointing launch in his, we'll just say, life. The Ford Lightning. The Lightning was a street muscle truck, and they turned the name into an EV. I mean, the name makes sense, but still, the Lightning was signature. Yes. Here's the thing. I kind of got into the step side Lightning. I kind of dig that one a lot. It was like an old school muscle car with, kind of utility. But now that the Raptor's here, the sort of muscle truck, the Raptor basically was like, the Raptor was going to be another Lightning. It was going to be another muscle truck. And then they were like, well, let's try this. And then boom, like, it just became a thing. I could see that. I could see, for me, Mustang Mach-E. All right, an electric Mustang, I can kind of get, it's a crossover. Fuck.
Yeah.
And then But yeah, I mean, I totally get it. If like I'm not into muscle trucks, but I'm not saying they're not a cool thing. And so I could see how someone would find like, hey, big supercharged V8 and now batteries. Damn it.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Jake goes the
I don't know.
C8. Well, I'm gonna paraphrase here. Biggest disappointment was the C8. I'm guessing you mean the Corvette and not the Spiker. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Probably an easy assumption on that one.
Just, I mean, this is the guy who did mention a McLaren $22,000 thing earlier. So
That's true. That's very true.
I'm going to take the unpopular opinion and agree with him. For the first ever mid-engine Corvette, it dated. You saw the renderings and it was like, oh, this is kind of okay. It looks really old now. I don't know. It just looks like it's 3 or 4 years behind.
Yeah.
I don't like the rear end at all. The rear end just looks like they're like, we kind of have to. Well, it doesn't look like a Corvette. Okay, it's got a V8. They'll like it anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually probably agree with that too. I was gonna say the 2015 WRX because there was no hatch, and just being an owner, I loved it, and they got rid of the hatch. But as a modern car, like for like the first mid-engine Corvette, we've been talking about this since the 70s, bro. Like, so,
They made one called the Aerovet, and it was a 4-rotor, as in the Doritos
No, yeah,
that power an RX-7. Not the same engine.
Yes.
It was 7 liters of Doritos. So like,
right, but we're talking like production.
Right.
Like the rumors of like a production mid-engine Corvette have been happening since the 70s with the Zora. So this is like it's like it's been 50 years that this thing's been hyped. And then it was a pretty disappointing launch. The car is cool. Like there's no doubt. I don't like the looks of it either. I'm not a huge fan, but the car is cool. Like a mid-engine Corvette is a very cool concept, and I've seen them on the road. They look really cool in person. Gotta be honest. They definitely look better in person than they photograph. The launch for that car, I think, was insanely botched because we knew it was coming. We saw the spy stuff, and it's the same thing I went back to about like why the GT was amazing. We saw it was coming. They did this stupid like drive around where they brought the camouflaged car to like certain events for people to see and like look at. And yeah, shut up, Christian. Shut up. Now I want to answer the question. Well, now I want to answer the question because someone actually said it, and I was trying to think of like a good answer, but I couldn't. But it just seemed like this long, drawn out process of the C8 actually, like, oh, it's here, but it's kind of not, but it is, and now it's revealed, and like everyone, I don't know. Other than like Corvette fanboys, I think everyone kind of just went like, cool, and then just moved on. It just didn't seem like a big reveal for anything. It didn't seem like it was an actual reveal of anything. It just seemed kind of meh for something as big as a C8 that's been rumored for 50 years.
I mean, just from
engine Corvette, it just seemed like it should have been a bit more grandiose than that, you know?
just from profile, I remember the first time looking at that car and thinking, "Oh, that's what the Audi R8 would look like if you only had rulers to design it."
I knew exactly where you were going. It's an Audi R8 with nothing but a protractor.
Yeah. Yeah, like
That's awesome.
there's quite a few cars. I mean, look, the cars that have hype are usually the most disappointing, right? It's like it's just an inevitability of hype. You know, very rarely do cars live up to hype. The only cars that I can think of living up to the hype were the GT350, GT500 Mustangs, the GR Corolla. That thing is going to be like, it's basically a beefed up version of the Yaris GR, and that is already wowing the crap out of people. And I just saw up another post today. They're getting 500 horsepower out of those things on pretty much stock internals. I don't know what they did to the head, but I mean, boost is a beautiful thing in that particular vein.
Oh yeah.
So like it's, I mean, let's talk about like the 400, the Nissan Z, right? That had a ton of hype. We pretty much saw what it would look like, and then it came out and we're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And I think some of that is, and then like the first road testers got a handle of it, and it's dull, like numb feeling from all the reviews I can. Still want to drive one, and a lot of that numbness can be fixed with suspension, coilovers, things like that. Which the aftermarket's going to pretty much be instantaneously filled with stuff because it is a familiar platform. It's a body and engine swap, type of vehicle.
Yeah.
I think the Supra was disappointing, knowing that it was another one of those non-manual vehicles. Okay, so it had BMW everywhere. Whatever. We've been over this a million times. Better to have a BMW Supra than no Supra. That's kind of go from there.
I mean, you could say the Eclipse Cross was a big one because if Mitsubishi bringing back the Eclipse nameplate, and then they just be like, "Here's your Pontiac Aztec looking crossover," and everyone's like, "Wow, who gives a shit?" So there's another one.
The Buick. I agree with Mark. The Buick Avenir or whatever it is.
Oh, the Avenir. Yeah.
There was another. I'm trying to remember it back in the day. It ended up becoming the Ford 500, but what it looked like was a modern interpretation of the Lincoln from the Entourage intro. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It looked that is
Suicide Doors.
Badass. I love that retro styling because the retro thing had been done to like Mustangs and all this other and Camaros and Challengers. Like it was cool to see it being applied to like a big luxury thing or like a sedan, and it was really cool. It looked awesome, and then it was the 500, and there goes any interest I may have ever even remotely had with that type of vehicle.
Yep, 100%. I'm gonna Google it right now as you try to remember some of the other ones. Most disappointing car reveal of the year. I'm trying to see which ones were like.
Oh, okay.
Some really like disappointing ones.
I lost my browser. There we go.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. I'm curious to see what people write listicles like this all the time, so you have no shortness of variety from what these things say. So let's see what some of these listicles say. Because I'm interested to see like which ones I'm forgetting. Because I'm sure I'm forgetting a million of them.
Right. I gotta bring up the other feed. Don't know why this isn't working. Yay. What else was disappointing? I'm trying to think of like every Viper prior to the Gen 5 Viper, but after the second Gen Viper was a disappointment. Now, for those of you, the first Gen Viper was the RT. That was the one that was going to burn you, going to kill you, and going to ass end hit. The ass end was going to overtake you. Then you had the Gen 2, which they added a roof to that body style and gave you such creature comforts as air conditioning. That was Gen 2. And then they got away from that body style in Gen 3, 4, and 5. Those were all massively disappointing to me. They got away from that kind of round, kind of, I don't want to say bubbly, but like that Cobra-inspired styling. Where the fenders were rounded and all this other stuff. They were kind of too many straight lines. Amazing vehicles, don't get me wrong, amazing. But they got away from the Viper I fell in love with. And
Shelby Mach 1. Speaking of that, rounded fenders. The Shelby Mach 1, I think, was another one of those cars that everyone was like, "Ooh, new Shelby car," and then it was just like, no one cared.
What was the Mach 1?
Was it the Mach 1? It was some like one-off Shelby car. Like the early 2000s or late 90s, I want to say. It was like a one-off car that I thought they were going to put in production, but I think it was so lukewarm. That
I know what you're talking about.
Love them, and then they basically just didn't make it because no one gave a shit at all.
Yeah, no, I know the exact car you're talking about. They actually made it. Like it did become a vehicle. Like that actually.
Yeah, but they didn't make a lot of them.
No, but let me see if I can get a good picture of it.
Christian makes another good one. The way the Chevy brought back the Blazer was a huge disappointment. Also correct.
So, let's just real quick. This was the fastest I could find it. That's the Shelby Series 1.
Series 1, thank you, not Mach 1. Series 1, yeah. Yeah, it's like they launched that and everyone was like, "Ooh, that looks cool," and then no one cared.
Yeah.
No one cared at all.
There we go.
Series 1.
But
Doug
they
said
did.
it in chat. Yeah, Series 1.
There was another one that was a Roush V10 that was supposed to be like the next Cobra, but never came to fruition.
Yeah.
There you go. Doug validated.
Yes, Series 1.
Oh, you know what was disappointing? And I say this because I love the car, but someone said, hey, GM's the king of the small block. The ATS-V. Or the ATS-V, then into the CT5V, Blackwing, Blackbird, Yellowbird, Big Bird, whatever you want to call it.
Big Bird. Yes.
Like, if that had just had like LT1 in it, or even like the same, not even the same as the base Corvette, it could have been a little detuned, like whatever. Just that soundtrack in a luxury sports sedan is something that only like the big caddies got, which I always thought was disappointing. Even though I love the ATS-V and it's now C something. I just said it and I forgot it. I'm not even going to try to remember it. But
ATS-V.
Yeah, the ATS-V and this whatever the replacement is, the 5 C something.
CT4.
CT4. There it is.
Yeah.
Those were only disappointing in the fact that GM decided, let's put a Turbo 6 in it because we don't really do Turbo 6s. But hey, people love it.
Yeah, why not?
But that was a fun car. I enjoy the car. It just could have been something a lot. And if I guarantee you, it would have sold a hell of a lot better if it had like an LS3 or whatever in it. But what do I know?
Yeah,
I just do this on the internet. GM doesn't pay me.
Yeah.
To their everlasting chagrin, I should point out. All right. Where's chat? There it is. Okay. Welcome back, Xavier.
Where you are. Welcome back, man.
Bit later in the conversation.
We usually like to chat for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and actually after this, if you guys are interested, Chad is going to play some F1 2022. Probably just right on this stream. He has it downloaded. He's ready to rock. So that might be a good transition, actually. Are you ready to play? Are you ready to like rock on this thing, or do you need to load it up?
I mean, I could be ready at a moment's notice for our fine viewers. Anyone interested in that? We're going to pop off of this stream, and then pop on a new stream with the game. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to take about a 5-10 minute break, and I'll see you guys on that side.
Yes.
The CV axle through the oil pan. Yeah. Nissan V8s did that. That's at some point. I can't remember which one. V something 41 had it. I can't remember it, but I'm going to spend the next half hour trying to think of it. Guys, while I'm off, come up with ideas. I think some of you actually have the game downloaded. We might do some games with chat if we want. I'm going to try to do a couple career mode games. I spun in the last qualifying session I had and then rage quit.
Nice.
It's what it is, man.
But are you ending this stream and doing a new one, or are you just going to stay on this stream?
Well, to be 100% honest, I kind of wanted to keep this open, keep people chatting. I'll leave them with a question. So
stay on here. Don't leave. If you're here and you want to watch and keep conversing with Chad, I'll probably hop off because I don't have the game. But Chad will stay on, and you guys can watch him fail miserably, and I'll just hop into chat and just decide to probably heckle him for the next half an hour.
Please do. I enjoy it. So so I'm gonna fire it up. Guys, tell me. I'll put a question on the screen, but I want to know your guys' favorite F1 track, past, present, or future. I don't know if there's any future plans for a track now that I think about it. But in any rate, favorite F1 track
past or present
ever. And I'll see you in a little bit.
Cool. Sounds good. And I will catch you guys next time. Later.
What's going on, chat? Welcome back. Yes, to some of our eagle-eyed viewers, I have changed hats. The other one was crushing my skull. At any rate, I asked you guys your favorite track of all time from F1, and well, we have one answer from Christian. Thank you, Christian. Interlagos. That's an interesting one because you don't hear it very often. New F1 fans might love that track just simply because of what Hamilton did there last year. Just replacing the engine, going back out, crushing the sprint race, making up a ton of grid places, and then eventually winning the main race. A lot of last year was just, insane with how exciting and everything it was. Let's just see here. So we're gonna hop in the game. I think some of you have actually I think Christian, you were on here before or last week. Said to have that. Send me if you want, send me a friend request or DM me. I commented in chat, so you can hit that. Maybe we'll do some races with chat later. I think that might be pretty cool. Just I guess friend me on EA, and then we can kind of go from there. I'm pretty sure I'm running the PC version through EA or Xbox. So yeah, you can. Let me just I'll put it in the. Yay. And there we go. My gamer tag's in there, but we are going to hop into the game here and continue. So to those of you who were here last time, you'll know I ended the race with a pretty poor qualifying effort, spinning out in the last corner. And I started back on the grid and then proceeded to kind of restart, rage quit. So today, what I'm gonna do, if I can figure it out, is if I ever restart a race, I'm gonna gift I'm gonna gift 3 supporters for every time I have to restart. That's gonna be my penalty to myself for treating it like a video game and not like I guess a sim or what have you. So yeah. The first race we did a bad start, failed to catch up. Second race we're not going to talk about. And the third race I think we are at where the crap are we?
It's time to take a look at our starting grid
Australia.
for today's race.
So
Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to
So
have you with
I'm
us
starting
today.
back on the grid.
I'm curious though, how do you think
see
the
how it
drivers
goes. I'm
stop
just going
those
to plow
pre-race
through
nerves
this
from
career mode.
becoming
I'm not going to try to
overwhelming
treat
when
it
you're
like a
lining
game.
up on the
If I
grid?
finish
Well, I
last, I
imagine
finish
they'll be
last.
starting to feel the
So,
adrenaline as they
let's give it
anticipate the
Oh, whoops, wrong button.
run down into turn 1. A bit like preparing to go into battle.
All right, let's. Here we go. And
The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on this.
close it up. Nope. I'll just pause it real quick so I can move my me, I guess. There we go. All right. Let's get it. Not my best start, but not my worst start either. Alright, Stone Dead last, yay. This track is not great for passing, unfortunately. AI making things difficult, hitting me. That's always fun. I really should have jumped into a practice before this to get one, because I am rusty as... Well, you can use the colorful language you want there. Let's just try to get in the points. That's not going to do it. That's really not going to do it.
You held position on lap 1. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Stay focused. Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
I think I need to stop talking and focus. Focusing isn't working. Okay. So, okay, I guess the game crashed. Let's boot that back up. Okay. Huh. Anyway, all right. So, where's my? Oh, I gotta bring chat. Sorry, guys. The game crashed. Gaming at its finest.
Sports. It's in the game.
Booting her back up. Hopefully, alrighty. Alright, sorry guys, we had a temporary, hopefully, malfunction. Alright, I guess let's try to hop back into it. It is... Sorry guys, I'm just trying to bring my chat back up. Christian, I believe it's under Xbox, but Chenedy1 is both my Xbox and EA gamer tags, so it should be pretty easy to hopefully find me there. Alright, I'll just boot this up just to be safe. Alright. I did not restart that. The game crashed.
It's time. Natalie Pinkham.
We gotta start. Again, the AI is just not playing nice. Am I getting a warning for that? Come on. Alright. Oh.
The new strategy available on the MFD.
They just break so early. If anybody knows how to turn the sensitivity down on the controller, open to suggestions. This corner, man. Gotta be stop being so aggressive. I don't know why they want me to come in, but sure. Alright. Whoops. Oh, damn it. Hey, I didn't screw that corner up that time. Did screw this one up again. Not coming in. Lap 3. Let's try to get in the points. Sorry, Kevin.
Good job. Nice overtake.
Oh. Looking at. Alright, let's see if we can get both cars for that last point. Not bad for starting pretty much still dead last. Alrighty. Might be able to get him into the last corner, second last corner. Unlucky. Another big points deficit. I lost a ton of time. I don't think I'm going to get it. It's really aggressive. It always works out well, right? Corner. Could have been worse.
Okay, Pick up rubber and
Could
bring it
have
home.
been worse. Oh, did I do that whole thing? Sorry, guys. That was rather dumb of me. Let's refresh. Alright, and we're gonna... Yeah, let me just see here. Oh, I have a new notification. All right. Yeah, wait, hold on. Friends. Nice. Oh, Xbox needs an update. Alrighty. All right, so that is me being a rookie at streaming. Good job, Chad.
Red Bull put up an
Yeah. Screw you, Max.
Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. So then...
Yeah, I'm failing. Yep, failing. More failing. I'm gonna do this, guys.
Our margins are looking good right now. Now, I think we've got room for some more investment.
Alrighty. Activities. Yeah, no. We need better arrow. I'm not gonna lie. Alright. Chassis. Plank. That's our underfloor. Alright. And because we could always use a little more power. Nope. High risk of failure on this one. Go. Durability. All right.
You're not currently in a rivalry. Sooner or later, you'll probably be asked by the media who you consider to be your rival. Think carefully who you select. As while you'll receive a claim for beating them, you'll lose a claim if you fail to do so. A reporter's asking
What do you
who
think?
see
What do you
as your
think,
rival.
chat? Should I
We need your input.
George or Max? Now my performance says I should go George, right? But I hate Max, so. Okay.
Thanks for stepping in and helping handle that.
All right. Let's go.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Where are we at? Okay. Alrighty. Oh, we got a sprint and... Alright, so maybe I can make up for some of my terribleness in a sprint race. Alrighty. Imura.
We're going to be logging some extra data during this session. Nothing you need to worry about, but as we have some new parts on the car, we'll just confirm they're performing to spec.
Alrighty. qualifying lap. Okay, so we're on the hards just to learn the track. Oh boy. Tell you what, the Italians do love their chicanes. I'll give them that. I appreciate it. Oh, chat, good news. If you like the F1 content, in the next couple days, one of my good friends is who's got the game. We're going to be starting the the two-player career mode. I'm really looking forward to that. He's like a lot of you, a new F1 fan. Good dude, funny dude. Really looking forward to that. Stay tuned to our socials for that. But it should be like Wednesday or Thursday. I gotta check with him on his schedule. Real inspiration for that came from Stone Mountain 64. Him and Fuglet are doing it. It looks like a ton of fun. And all about it. Every game I've ever played, that corner complex is one that gives me fits. Absolute fits. I guess I should get some practice with damage. Damage things, apparently. Chad, wake up. Hey, fastest lap. what I'm talking about, Chad. With the sensitivity, like when I want to ease off the steering, it just pretty much all just comes off. Like, definitely, if anybody knows controller, I thought it's just the best I've ever taken that corner. Yeah, it's still dog shit. That's another corner. Terrible at. I didn't even completely bone that corner. Hey, I'm getting better. And no, I'm not. I just want to see if I can't. Settings. Yeah, we need to get into that. I need to change ERS setting because right now I have it to the same. Actually, why don't we change this to brake, gear down. Play around with that at another time. Let's see here. Longest animation ever. I can't do anything otherwise.
We've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car.
Okay. Figure I should get some practice on softs before I go qualifying. Simply because, well, Mildly important. That being a clutch is super annoying. My thoughts exactly. See, that's what I mean. Like, you make one long correction, and I get it's a phone call, what have you. Greg, download the game and get in here, and then we'll see. I prefer. Well, with that stellar lap in, session info. We're just going to jump into qualifying. I get one shot at this. Hopefully I don't screw it. Heckling is more fun. I agree, Greg. I would be doing the exact same thing if you were here.
The session has drawn to a close.
Greg, since you're here in chat, why don't you tell everyone your favorite? Well, please tell me it's not about to rain. I have not done any rain laps. Oh God! But Greg, tell chat what your favorite F1 track is. Slowly, very slow. That wasn't my best lap.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Oh, second pole of the season. Let's see if we can not screw this start up. Yes, I love all the old classics. Spa's
We're all
definitely
ready for
up
tomorrow's
there.
race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Maverick, Perez, and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head
All right.
into the Grand
We need a
Prix.
DNF out of Max. Oh, boy. Spa's great. I love Monza. I wish Monza was an absolutely insane track back in the day when it was a part oval, part road course. There's some other great classics. Hockenheim's up there. I mean, Nürburgring, yes, but not the GP circuit because that's relatively new, comparatively speaking. What else? Suck it, Max. What am I forgetting? Silverstone, even though it's got a bunch of changes. Probably one of my favorites, if I'm being 100% honest, is the old one of my old favorites is Watkins Glen, but with the boot. What's it called? That is, I mean, it's just such a fun track, whether it be in video games. We've had the opportunity to go around that track. It's up there. It's not just
So it's all about speed in today's
crazy.
off the back of a fan.
It's not like the crazy old classics, but it just has that old school feel. Watkins Glen is a town ill-suited
Okay,
for
this is
international
our engine.
sport.
Okay, you've got a drive-through penalty. You've given a drive-through penalty.
God damn it! The curse of the pole position start continues. Greg, heckle away. I earned it. sucks. What do you think, chat? Should I... And stone dead last. Damn it.
Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Please hold, chat. I think you guys should know what's coming up next. Is it so? If you're at the beginning of this stream, you will undoubtedly know that I made a deal with myself. Yes, why not? And that deal... No. Alright, let's get out of this. And... Can I not? Huh. Can I not gift? Oh, there's gotta be a way to do this. Unpause it. Video. See more. Already a subscriber. Alright, so I will just in turn pay my pittance via the stars All right. Well, I couldn't figure that out. So, all right, start from pole and starting from dead last again. I think I broke the game. Oh, thank you, me.
Let's see how the driver's standings have changed.
Fuck. Well, here we are in a familiar situation where I am trying to make up for a stupid ass mistake. Oh, that sucks. All right. Once again, starting last because I got overly aggressive with the start. I'm highly intelligent.
It's world
All I
champ,
had to
and
do
it's
was get a
Lewis
good
Hamilton alongside.
Wow, that was a heck of an impact. Let me know you're okay.
And I guess he was right there when I came across.
They take the checkered flag then. Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look.
Okay, let's put that one behind us. I swear I'm not this trash at racing games. I promise you, I am not this trash. Oh, gosh. I think this has failed twice on me, this stupid crankshaft thing. Golly. Oh. Alright. Insufficient points. Alright. Got a bit of a mountain to climb, chat. Got a bit of a mountain to climb. Oh, Miami. This is going to go well. A street circuit.
Our new parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
make the races longer? Like, how do you set this settings? Rules. Guess not. All right. Miami. This has a corner, that little tight little corner that I know is just gonna, we'll just say remove parts of my vehicle. Oh. Why not? Well, let's learn the track and then learn it again in crappy weather. Oh, this should be fun. It never rains in Florida. I don't know what this game's talking about, man. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's a very Jetta feel from just the game side of things. Could just be the street circuit, could be the... No, this is definitely straight out of Jetta. That sort of switchback. 100%. Come on, man. Quite got to the section that I'm afraid of. Right here. Oh. Cannot afford to break late there. Something there that pulls me off. Crack does in fact kill, Mike. I don't need to see this. Come on.
It's time to remind ourselves.
I guess we'll just jump right into the rain. First attempt at rain. Let's see how this one goes, chat. Oh, boy. Rain. Okay. Well, this will be a good test on the reds. Let's get at least one good lap in. Actually, as well fix this crap, and then.
Car repairs have set us back a little.
Alright, get a good one, go into quali. Not fuck up this start.
Okay, just want to remind you to keep an eye on your tyre temperatures, which you can do on the temperature panel of the MFD. We monitor carcass temperature and surface temperature, and you'll get the best performance when they're both inside a normal operating window. Surface temps tend to fluctuate faster, so try a few laps with the data open and get a feel for how to control them.
That opened the MFD. Good-okay.
fastest lap of the session so far. Great work. We think we might see some rain, ETA about 15 minutes.
That's where it gets stupid annoying. Alright, we're gonna jump right into quality. Oh man, alive. Alright, those of you new to the chat, hit it down there. Favorite F1 track and why? Mine, of the current tracks, it's probably Spa. Old classic tracks, let's give some love to Watkins Glen and the boot.
And with the cars now over the line.
Blah, blah. All right. Ah, I should have waited for the rain in practice. Oh, boy alive. Well, this should be fun. Oh. Inters, huh? Okay. Eventually the car will turn in. There we go. Alright. Don't fuck it up.
Excellent lap. We're very pleased with that.
Alright. That's beautiful.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top three. Maverick, Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Sorry about that. The several Red Bulls I had to the course of the day wanted out. So, alrighty. So, let's try not to butcher this start. Just kidding. Oof. Excuse me. Alrighty. Alright, so this is our third pole of the season. First time, left sleeping. Just passed by everyone. I didn't know what I was doing. Second one, last race, jumped the start on the sprint race. And
Formula One has arrived in the Sunshine State for spectacular sun. Before we begin, let's take a quick look. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn one?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So...
Alrighty.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any
Miami.
unnecessary
I would have
risks.
chosen Austin, but sure, whatever. Okay, I can live with that. Easily the best start to a race we've had. Damn it. Thought I was on a different part of the track. Come on.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Come on.
There's a new strategy available on the MF.
Fuck it. Oh, God damn it.
I...
Starting to press, folks. Starting to press. Keep him out of DRS. Yeah. Come on. Let's tighten it up. Come on. Pull it up. What the hell is going on in that corner?
Great work. That's a new fastest lap in the race.
Alright, keep it together.
for the race. Yes, fantastic! You've just won the Grand Prix.
All right, so we. Oh. Hey, Josh, what's going on, buddy? Long time no see, man. How you been?
A hard-fought win today then, after a very difficult race. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.
Oh, got off the schneid there. Got off the schneid. I can't even read chat. All right.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Maverick. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
Let's move on to the constructors. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
77 points back. All right. Nice. Yeah, let me know, man. We're always down. I know you got the kids and stuff, Josh, but we miss you, man. And Warzone ain't the same without you. Glad you're popping in, though. It's kind of cool to have a familiar face on this. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Oh, now my chat wants to start working again.
The marketing department has requested your input on this one. Thanks. I know these kinds of decisions can be challenging, but I think you made the right call.
All right, we can get into second in the constructors. Nice. Nice.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
I hate this track. Man alive. I do think we're going to end on the dub, guys. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll catch everyone in the next one. Like I said, if you like the F1 stuff, I'm going to be bringing my boy on, hopefully this week. And we're going to start doing the 2-player thing. I don't know if we're going to go teammates or go rivals. I don't know. But yeah, probably Wednesday. Stay tuned to this space. I will absolutely be I'll be letting you know. But for this one, guys, thanks for watching. And